Welcome to another exciting episode of Unraveling Intellectual Property with Michael Stein. Today, I am so pleased to have a dear friend of mine, George Winton, who I've known since back in my engineering days, close to 40 years ago, I think. George, how are you?
All is well. All's good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for being here. George Winton is the president of Winton Machine Company, based in Suwanee, if I pronounce that correct, Georgia, who makes tube bending machines. And he will explain a little bit more what that is in a minute. And we're going to be discussing how a small business owner handles intellectual property issues. George, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Your pronunciation of Swanee was very, very good for someone north of the Mason-Dixon line. We appreciate that.
We're actually south of the Mason-Dixon line.
You're south. See, that's why I'm down in the south. I'm not in the north. So I think that coincides right there. So working in a facility that designs and builds machine tools. We're a bunch of machinists, a bunch of assembly people, mechanical, electrical, and software engineers, and we design and build factory automation. And we automate processes that primarily involve metal tubing. So we bend tubing, cut tubing, flare tubing. We fabricate tubing. We build the machines. So we build the machines that cut tubing. We don't cut tubing ourselves. We build machines that bend tubing. And so we don't really make bent tubular parts here. We build a factory automation that allows other people to make those tubular components. And you'll find those components in lawn and garden equipment, aerospace, automotive, HVAC, um, defense industry related assemblies. You'll find it in construction equipment, all over tubing. You walk into a Home Depot, I see a lot of tubing. Perhaps the average bear doesn't, but I see a lot of tubing. Tubing all over the place, right? And so it's a lot of tubing, a lot of metal tubing in automotive, a lot of tubing in HVAC, copper tubing in the back of your refrigerator. You go into a quick trip and you reach in to get some ice cream. That box is cold. It's cold because of refrigeration. So someone had to build a refrigeration components and assemblies. So we help OEMs build their equipment by providing equipment that can fabricate tubular assemblies.
And do you have clients all over the world? I mean, international, most of them domestic.
The vast majority of our customers are North America, would be Canada, um, United States, and Mexico, and that's for the tubing end of it, right? And so there's a lot of competition worldwide for tubing all over the world, Europe, Asia, a lot of tubing, and but there's another 10 to 15% of our business that takes us all around the world, and that involves something called semi-rigid coax cable. And so we fabricate or we bend, we build machines that fabricate semi-rigid coax cable. And this cable is used in tier one defense related equipment, such as ship-to-ship communication, ship-to-satellite communication. And so we build equipment that helps fabricate the semi-rigid coax cable. So you'll find us in Northrop Grumman, Lockheed, Boeing, first world countries such as the UK, Israel. Right, we have a lot of equipment in Israel that helps help build the Iron Dome, as a matter of fact. And so it's a lot of equipment for fabricating coax takes us around the world. And so we have equipment in China. We have equipment in Costa Rica, the United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia for the semi-rigid fabrication world. So yes, that takes us around the world.
Right? I mean, I've known you for so many years. I don't even know. As I say on each episode of my podcast, I learn something new every day.
I have a story for every country that I've been in involving
Uh,
traveling for business, and it's all good. It's
all
all
right.
good.
Sounds great. Well, let's get into some intellectual property issues. Let's start off with, I mean, you're designing new products, right? I know that because I've been your patent attorney for a number of years. When you go, like when you start developing a new product or what are you doing to get ready for like considering a new product? Are you looking at competitors? Are you looking at their intellectual property? How does a small business man like you go about this process?
Yeah, it's a long question. Sorry, it's a long answer. That was a short question, but here's a long answer, and I'll do my best to give you the Cliff Note version as
All
best I
right.
can. Number one, I don't hold it against the folks from Asia coming over to the United States in the '70s and looking at our equipment in the trade shows. I don't because they wanted to see what was going on. They wanted to learn, and I do the same thing personally. I've crawled and looked under competitors' equipment over the last 25, 30 years. I've looked at the equipment coming from Asia and coming out of Europe. And so they make some good equipment. There's been some great ideas. And so I'm trying to hitchhike off of their ideas without infringing on their intellectual property. And so yeah, if I see a market that we're trying to get into, I want to know who's been in it, how long they've been in it, and what intellectual property they might have as far as what might be still enforceable or what maybe has fizzled out in the last 5, 10, 20 years, right? And so it's always of interest as to um, what landmines you might be stepping on. And as a small company, um, you have to be very cognizant about going too far too fast and treading on the 500-pound gorilla's IP because that can come back and haunt you quite quickly. Someone once told me many, many, many years ago, a wise man once told me many years ago that the patent game is a rich man's game. And I remember him telling me that verbatim. And so it's very true. You can apply for a patent. You can get a patent eventually, hopefully, right? But that just gets you into court. That doesn't win the day. That gets your lawyer maybe to fire off a letter at some point
Mhm.
to the other guy, right? But beyond that, you got to have deep pockets to hang in there. And so, as a small business, you have to be very mindful about what you're going to do with that parchment on the wall, providing you're able to get it from the Patent and Trademark Office.
Those are two different things. One is getting the parchment on the wall and the enforcement part. I'm talking about avoiding problems from the third parties.
Yeah, well, that's where you're going to do your homework up front, right? You
Right.
want to know when you're going into building something, what's out there. And most recently, I came across a machine that I've been wanting to build for several years now. And I went on the web and started looking into it and saw there was a patent mentioned by one of the competitors up in Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
So I sent the patent number off to Stein and came back that it's been abandoned. And I asked twice, is it abandoned, as in not to be recovered ever again? Because I realized there's a grace period there. And so I realized this thing is run aground and it's full steam ahead on this particular product. And so you just want to be careful that what you're treading on. And of course, analyzing their claims and how broad are they, how narrow are they. And so at the end of the day, you just want to know whether you pull the trigger on a product and continue to develop it, but you want to know what the lay of the land is before you get too far into it.
Ask you this, have you had any issues or have you been lucky enough to avoid them? I mean, have you had any threatening letters or issues or phone call or anything?
The first threatening email we got was probably maybe 20 years ago. We um, came close to infringing on a patent of a company up in Indiana, somewhere up there, Yankee land. And so basically, we we had a design that looked similar to what they did, but theirs was motorized and ours wasn't motorized. And in their independent claim, they had it was motorized, so we didn't really infringe on it. But the guy got ruffled and sent us a letter of some sort. That was a long time ago, and since then, I think we've been very careful to very mindful of the situation because there are, depending on the market we're in, there are a few 500-pound gorillas out there, and uh, and they have the ability to make your life uncomfortable if they choose. And so I stay away from that as best I can.
So you err on the side of caution, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's yes, that's a fair assessment.
Um, because as you say, rich man's game. I mean, part of the purpose is to even the playing field, but a big guy can more easily afford the legal fees and the court process, as you mentioned, than someone like you can.
100%. And you mentioned level playing field, and it's not really a level playing field. It's a level playing field if you can ante up. And I know that a good friend of mine down here was involved in a legal battle with IP, and they had spent $40 million on the defense. Yeah, that's exactly right. But the other guy had deeper pockets, and he was nastier. So the guy with the 40 million had to throw the towel in. You imagine that? So just be wise. Just be careful.
Uh, I see these episodes go very quickly. This is the end of part one. We're going to continue with part two of how a small business owner handles intellectual property with George Winton. So please stay tuned and for our next part of this episode with George Winton.
Thank you.